Welcome! Do you want to learn English in a fun and easy way? In this video, we teach English using narrated, animated stories. Here is how it works. On the left, watch the beautiful animations. They are designed to help you understand and enjoy the story. On the right, you can read along as you listen to the narrator. When we reach a difficult word, don't worry. A box will appear at the bottom with a simple definition and an example to help you learn. Let's get started.
Every spring, a special event happens around the world. In many countries, people light candles or make small fires. Some chant loudly in the streets, moving in long lines. Others hide colorful eggs in their gardens. These things happen on the same spring morning, but they look very different. Millions of people take part in these traditions, from big cities to small villages. All these actions are part of one big holiday, Easter. It is a very complex day. Easter can be a solemn religious holiday, but also a time for sweet candy and fun egg hunts. It mixes old stories with new customs. This holiday changes its date each year because of the moon. Many people celebrate Easter, both Christians and those with no religion. What links old stories about goddesses of spring, a man killed by the Roman Empire, and today's chocolate rabbits? This book will explore Easter. It is a holiday with many layers and different ideas. We will see how people have always wanted to celebrate spring's return. We will also look at the strong human belief that death is not the end. Easter helps us understand how human groups work. It shows our deep, persistent need to mark the arrival of spring. For a long time, people have needed to find meaning in hard times and to believe that life comes back after bad times. This holiday is like a big puzzle with many small pieces from different times and places. Some traditions are thousands of years old, while others are quite new. It is a story about how humans think about life, death, and new beginnings. In this book, we will travel through time. We will start with ancient people who honored spring before Jesus was born. Then we will learn about the Christian story, focusing on the dark week leading up to the empty tomb. We will also explore the fun symbols like eggs and bunnies. Later, we will see how different countries celebrate Easter in their own ways. Finally, we will look at how Easter became a big business and what it means for people today. It is a journey to understand one of the world's oldest and most important celebrations. Easter is a holiday unlike any other. It brings together very old ideas about nature's rebirth with a central story of faith. It shows how people can keep old ways and make new ones. This mix makes Easter rich and special. It is a time for hope, new life, and remembering stories passed down through many generations. Get ready to discover the full, amazing story of Easter. 2. Spring before Jesus. Long ago, before anyone knew about Jesus, people across the world already celebrated spring. For very old societies, winter was a hard and dangerous time. It was very cold, and food was often scarce. Many people did not survive the long, dark months, and life was truly difficult. So, when spring finally arrived, it felt like a true miracle. The earth would turn green again, flowers would grow, and new life would start everywhere, bringing joy and relief. This return of warmth and greenery was especially important for agricultural people. Their very survival depended on their crops growing well and their animals having babies to provide food. Spring was not just a pleasant time,
It meant life itself, a precious gift after enduring the harsh winter. It is a curious mystery why ancient people started painting eggs, but they did, many thousands of years before the word Easter was even thought of or spoken. For example, the ancient Persians painted eggs for their New Year celebration, called Nowruz. This important festival marked the spring equinox, a moment when day and night are about the same length. This tradition of painting eggs for Nowruz has continued for at least 2,500 years, showing its deep roots. Also, scientists have found decorated ostrich eggs in African tombs that are an incredible 60,000 years old. Eggs were a very strong and clear symbol of new life because they hold a living creature inside a simple, silent shell. In a world without modern science, a chick hatching from an egg must have seemed truly extraordinary and full of wonder. Many ancient cultures had goddesses who were linked to spring, new life, and the earth becoming fertile again. In Sumer, there was the goddess Inanna. In Phoenicia, she was called Astarte, and in Egypt, Hathor. There was also the goddess Eostre, who was important to old Germanic communities. Her festival was named Ostara, which means dawn or east.
These words speak about light and new beginnings, like the sun rising after a long night. The modern English word Easter and the German word Oster are believed by some to come from her name. However, this etymology, the origin of the word, is disputed among scholars. Some scholars think the name comes from a Latin phrase, in albis, which also means dawn or white garments. Oster might have been a local goddess who protected people, not just one focused on fertility. But the main idea of goddesses tied to spring and the rebirth of the earth was very common across the ancient world. This deep human need to celebrate new life in spring, and the belief that death is not the end, shows how people always hoped for life to win over death, even after the coldest, darkest winter. 3. The Dark Week. This week, called Holy Week, was very important in Jesus' life. It began on Palm Sunday. Jesus came into the city of Jerusalem. People were very happy and cheered loudly. They put palm branches and even their cloaks on the road for him. They shouted, "Hosanna," which meant, "Save us now." Many people thought he was their new king, someone who would free them from Roman rule. This was a jubilant day, full of excitement and hope. But the happy mood did not last. By Thursday, the mood had changed much. This day is called Maundy Thursday. Jesus shared a special meal with his disciples. It was called the Last Supper. During this meal, he broke bread and poured wine.
He told them that these things were his body and blood, and they should remember him by doing this. He also showed great humility by washing their feet, a task usually done by a servant. Then Jesus told them a sad and shocking secret. One of the 12 disciples would turn against him. Later that night, Jesus went to a quiet place, a garden named Gethsemane, to pray. There, Judas Iscariot, one of his own disciples, arrived. He was not alone. He came with a group of soldiers. Judas showed them who Jesus was with a simple kiss. This was a dark betrayal. After this, Jesus was arrested by the soldiers. The peaceful night turned into a time of fear. The next day was Friday, now known as Good Friday. This day was very hard and full of suffering. Jesus had many unfair trials. Finally, Pontius Pilate, a Roman ruler, decided that Jesus should die. Before his death, soldiers hurt him and put a crown made of sharp thorns on Jesus' head. They also mocked him as King of the Jews. Then Jesus had to carry his own crucifixion cross to a hill called Calvary. There, Roman soldiers nailed him to the wooden cross. This was one of the cruelest ways to die. From the cross, Jesus spoke words of forgiveness for those who were killing him. He died later that day, by Friday evening. After Jesus died, his body was taken down and placed in a tomb. This was on Holy Saturday. The tomb was a cave, and a very heavy, round stone was rolled in front of its entrance, closing it.
Jesus' followers were heartbroken and confused. The chief priests and other leaders were worried. They remembered Jesus had said he would rise again. So they asked Pilate to put Roman guards outside the tomb. They feared Jesus' followers might steal his body and then claim he had come back to life. Therefore, the tomb was sealed and guarded. The disciples were left scattered, terrified, and full of despair. They did not know what would happen next, as a heavy silence fell over everything. 4. The empty tomb. The quiet stillness of Holy Saturday ended with the rising sun. Early on Sunday morning, several women went to the tomb where Jesus' body lay. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Salome, and Mary, James's mother. They found a surprising sight. The large stone that covered the tomb's entrance had been moved away. The tomb was empty. An angel spoke to them, saying, "He isn't here. He is risen from the dead, just as he said would happen." Mary Magdalene was the first person to see Jesus after he came back to life. For Christians, this empty tomb is the most important part of their faith. They believe that Jesus' death paid for the sins of all people. His resurrection shows that death is not the final end. It gives believers hope that they too can live again after death, finding salvation. This event is the central mystery and the strong foundation of Christian belief. Many people wonder why the date of Easter changes every year.
Easter Sunday is a movable feast because it does not happen on the same day. The Christian Church decided that Easter should be the first Sunday after the first full moon that happens on or after the spring equinox. The spring equinox is usually around March 21st. This rule means Easter can fall on any Sunday between March 22nd and April 25th. This special way to set the date comes from Easter's close link to the Jewish festival of Passover. The Bible says that Jesus' death and coming back to life happened during the week of Passover. In the year 325, a group called the Council of Nicaea formally decreed this rule for Easter's date. However, this rule has caused a long-standing disagreement between Christian churches. Eastern Orthodox churches use a different calendar, called the Julian calendar, for their calculations. Because of this, Orthodox Easter usually happens later than the Easter celebrated by Roman Catholics and Protestants. For example, in the year 2026, Western Christians will celebrate Easter on April 5th, but Orthodox Christians will celebrate it a week later, on April 12th. There have been talks to agree on one fixed date for Easter, but no full agreement has been made. The changing date reminds us that Easter follows old rhythms, not modern fixed schedules. Eggs and bunnies. Many people think the symbols of Easter, like eggs and bunnies, came from old pagan traditions.
But the story of the Easter egg is more interesting than that. Its Christian meaning did not just come from ancient spring festivals. Instead, it grew from rules about fasting during the Middle Ages. For Christians, Lent is a period before Easter, lasting 40 days. During Lent, observant Christians would often not eat certain foods, and eggs were one of them. Chickens, of course, kept laying eggs during this long fast. By Easter Sunday, people had many eggs saved up. To keep them from going bad, they would boil these eggs. Then, on Easter, they would eat them with great joy, ending their fast. This practical reason helped eggs become a very big part of the celebration. The egg also became a strong Christian symbol in its own right. An egg looks closed, hard, and still, much like a tomb. But inside, new life can begin and grow. So the closed egg started to represent the sealed tomb where Jesus was buried after his death. An open or cracked egg then meant Jesus rising from the dead, just like a chick breaks free from its shell to bring new life. This powerful symbolism helped people understand the central Easter story of resurrection. Later, people began to decorate eggs, and by the late 1800s, companies like Cadbury even made the first chocolate Easter eggs, making them a sweet treat for everyone. Now let's talk about the Easter bunny. This symbol is perhaps the most puzzling for many.
What does a rabbit delivering candy have to do with Jesus rising from the dead? The idea of a special Easter rabbit started in Germany a few hundred years ago, around the 17th or 18th century. Old German folk stories talked about an Easter hare that would bring brightly colored eggs to children. Rabbits and hares were seen as strong symbols of new life and having many babies, as they give birth to many offspring in spring, so they were naturally connected to the season of spring and fertility. When German families moved to Pennsylvania in America during the 1700s, they brought this special tradition with them. They spoke of the Osterhase, which means Easter hare. This hare would lay colorful eggs for good children, placing them in special nests they made. Over time, this German folk tale changed and grew. The egg-laying hare slowly transformed into the candy-delivering Easter bunny we know today. It became a very popular symbol, much like Santa Claus for Christmas. Today, the Easter bunny is a global figure, bringing joy and sweets to children all over the world. This shows how old customs and local stories can travel across oceans, change over centuries, and become part of a much bigger, widely loved celebration. How people celebrate. Across the world, people celebrate Easter in many different ways. Each country has its own special traditions, showing how important this time is.
In Spain, during Holy Week, there are big processions. People wear long hooded robes and carry large statues through the streets. The air smells of sweet incense. Singers perform from balconies. Easter Sunday then brings joyful family meals. Greece celebrates Easter as its most important holiday. At midnight on Saturday, church bells ring, and many candles light up the dark churches. People shout, "Christ is risen," and answer, "Indeed he is risen." They break a long fast with a special lamb soup. In Corfu, people throw clay pots from balconies, a loud sound meaning life beats death. They also crack red eggs in a game. Poland has joyful traditions. Families prepare Easter baskets with eggs, bread, and sausage for blessing. On Easter Monday, people have a nationwide water fight called Śmigus Dingus. Children and adults throw water on each other. This is a symbol of new life and cleansing. It is a very fun day. Guatemala's Easter is full of color. People make beautiful carpets on the streets using colored sawdust. They add pine needles and flowers. These intricate designs show their culture. Later, solemn processions walk over these artworks, carefully destroying them. In Ethiopia, Easter is called Fasika and is celebrated 1 or 2 weeks after Western Easter. People fast for 55 days, not eating meat or dairy. On Fasika, church services are held all night with drumming, chanting, and singing. After the service, families have a big feast together.
This time also helps to solve family problems. Sweden celebrates Easter with children dressing up as Easter witches. They go from door to door giving drawings for sweets. This tradition comes from old stories about witches flying on Thursday before Easter. Today, it is a fun custom for children. Australia has a special Easter animal. Rabbits are seen as a pest there because they harm the environment. So many Australians celebrate with the Easter bilby instead. A bilby is an endangered desert animal. Chocolate bilbies are sold, and some money helps protect them. These many ways of celebrating show how important Easter is to people. It brings different cultures together in shared joy and unique customs. Chapter 7: Buying and Selling. Chapter 7 looks at how Easter became a big business. It also discusses an important debate. Did Easter traditions come from pagan customs, or are they purely Christian? This chapter explores the ongoing tension between a religious holiday and a large modern industry. Today, Easter is a huge commercial holiday. It is the second biggest time for selling candy in the United States, right after Halloween. Many shops start selling Easter things weeks before the holiday. You can find chocolate bunnies, many kinds of candy eggs, toys, and cards. This big business, which is worth billions of dollars, makes some religious people worried. They feel it takes away from the serious religious meaning of the holiday.
They believe it makes Easter less about sacrifice and more about buying things. However, some people see it differently. They think that this commercial side simply adds another layer to Easter. It means that both religious and non-religious people can enjoy the holiday. Like Christmas, Easter can be both spiritual and fun, old and new, and commercial and meaningful at the same time. For example, in the mid-19th century, wealthy people in New York would wear their finest clothes to parade down Fifth Avenue, celebrating Easter with a big fashion show. Later, in the 1930s, sugary sweets like jelly beans became very common in American Easter baskets, marking the start of a sweet tradition. Even the White House has a famous secular Easter event called the Easter Egg Roll, an annual event where children roll eggs on the lawn. This cheerful event connects the highest office to a simple, ancient symbol of new life. Then there is the long-standing debate about Easter's roots. Did early Christians take traditions from pagan spring festivals, or did they create all their own customs? The answer is not simple. Easter has parts from both Christianity and older pagan cultures. Things like Easter eggs and bunnies were symbols of new life and spring long before Christianity. People used them in celebrations of fertility and rebirth for centuries. But the most important part of Easter for Christians is Jesus' resurrection.
This belief came from the first Christians who felt something amazing had happened. It was not something they borrowed from other religions. The early church did, however, absorb and change some older customs. For instance, the egg, once a symbol of fertility, became a symbol of Jesus rising from the tomb. The hare, an important animal in some old spring stories, gradually became the Easter bunny that delivers treats. This process of collision, absorption, and transformation is how human cultures often work. They talk to each other, sometimes blend ideas, and change meanings over time. The spring equinox was already a special time for many people, marking the end of winter and the beginning of new growth. Christians celebrating Easter around this time were not trying to trick anyone. They were simply part of a human understanding that spring is important and brings new life and hope. 8. What Easter means today. Easter has a long history. It has lasted through many big changes. It survived when the Roman Empire ended. It lived through wars and new ideas. Even today, with many people not going to church, Easter is still important. This is special because Easter's ideas are very strong. They speak to something deep inside us. These are not just Christian ideas. They are human ideas. They are about life and death. They are about how things can get better after bad times. Think about the themes of Easter. There is suffering, like the winter.
But then there is redemption, like the spring coming. There is rebirth when new life appears. These ideas are still relevant today. The world changes, but people still need hope. We still want to believe that bad times will end. We want to see new beginnings. Easter reminds us that life is stronger than death. Think of an egg. It looks still and cold, but inside, new life is waiting. This is an old idea. People have always looked at eggs and thought about life returning. Every spring, this idea comes true. Today, many people celebrate Easter in different ways. Some go to church. They remember the story of Jesus. For them, Easter is the most important day. It is about Jesus coming back to life. It gives them strong faith. Others celebrate Easter with their families. They have special meals. They hunt for eggs or eat chocolate bunnies. These traditions are also part of Easter's story. They show how the holiday has grown. It mixes old ideas with new ones. It brings joy and happiness to many. Easter has gone through many changes. It has been commercialized with many sweets and gifts. But for many, the deeper meaning stays. It is about the enduring power of tradition. It is about the human wish for new life after winter. It is a reminder that we all want to see life inside a cold, sleeping egg. We all wait for it to hatch. Easter shows us that life always finds a way. It teaches us about change and new chances. It teaches us about renewal. What about you?
What is your favorite Easter tradition? How do you celebrate the start of spring? Do you think about renewal in your own life? Easter, in all its forms, is a time to think about these things. It is a time to welcome new life and hope.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.